I'm from Serbia, and I came to Taiwan to marry her, to marry my wife.
How do you know each other?
Well, we met on Facebook actually. Then we chatted for a very long time. Then we met in person, and well, that's it.
Just simple.
Yeah, but it, yeah, well, it is simple. You know, well, actually not that simple, but it required a lot of time, to actually know each other very well, to develop, like trust and. But basically that.
When you decided to Taiwan, but you never heard Taiwan, and it's your first time to.
Yeah, well, actually, I knew about Taiwan before. Taiwanese goods were very popular when I was a kid. Like electronic stuff and technical stuff. But to be honest, I didn't know much about Taiwan. And well, first we wanted to live in my country, but because of some political issues, it we have we have great administrative obstacles to prepare her documents and stuff so she can come to my country. And then we decided that it's easier for me to come here. Also, there was a lot of problems, and I need like maybe 3 or 4 months of preparations, and it was really hard to obtain all the documents. I had to go to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ministry of I don't know, police, then some other ministry. Then I had to go to one court, other court. Then because Taiwan doesn't, there isn't a Taiwanese embassy in my country, so I had to go to Hungary. Then I had to go to Serbian embassy. Then to finally, when I went to Taiwanese embassy, they finished everything in 30 minutes after 4 months of struggle. And well, that's it. Then I came here, and well, I like it here. You
Why?
know, but I don't know. I just like it. Well, first, at the beginning, everything was strange. I met Asian culture for the first time. I never been to Asia before, and at the beginning, I still don't speak the language, and I didn't know almost anything about way of life and everything else. So everything was strange, like food and people and living habits and everything now. And in time, I get used to it. I find a lot of similarities between Taiwanese culture and my own culture. So now actually Taiwan feels like home.
Really,
Yeah.
feels like a home.
Well, in a way that I feel like I'm home here. When we went to my country a couple of months ago to visit my parents, and well, it was nice, but I didn't feel I belong there anymore. I belong here.
Really,
Yeah,
I've just been here for years.
yeah. Well, what can I say? This is a nice place, and people are really nice.
But you don't know the Asian culture, but you learn Kung Fu. It's Asian culture. What
Mm,
kind of Asian culture?
Well, it is a part of Asian culture, but learning Kung Fu in Europe is quite different than learning Kung Fu here. You know,
How
uh,
different?
well, a lot. First, most of Kung Fu in Europe came from Hong Kong, and they have different approach to in teaching in everything. And of course, Cantonese culture is quite different than Taiwanese. Uh, then uh, there is one other thing. Most of the things that people know about Kung Fu is influenced by Hong Kong movie industry. And when people learn Kung Fu, they expect a lot of things they saw in the movies. And of course, uh, if you expect something, if the market demands it, you will offer just that. And then people in Hong Kong in time, they adjusted their Kung Fu for the needs and demands of foreign people. And that's how they learn Kung Fu in Europe. Technically, it's the same thing, but if you go deeper, you will see it's not quite the same thing.
So how's your starting learning Kung Fu with your kids, or
Well,
your story?
Yeah, well, I start with Japanese martial arts. You know, there isn't much kung fu in Europe. Uh, I start with Japanese martial arts first, and I practiced that for a couple of years.
What is the reason?
A reason I got beaten. I got beaten in school.
You want to protect yourself?
Yeah, well, I got in a fight. I was, I think, sixth grade, and I got in a fight with some kids, and I was beaten pretty badly. So I understood I don't know how to defend myself. Then I started with karate and judo at first, and it was okay. Later, I discovered Wing Chun. Couple of years later, I discovered Wing Chun, and I stick to that for well, now it's like 20 something years. And uh, well, it was interesting. It was something different, you know, and it offers not only physical development. When you grow up, physical confrontation stops to be your main. Self-defense just stops to be your main goal in training. And since, well, I like history, I'm just curious, curious like a cat, and I like to know everything about everything. And Kung Fu is a pretty wide field of research about history and culture and well, even religion. Well, religious influence on Kung Fu, uh, social studies also. So it gives me an opportunity to learn a lot, to learn a lot about a lot of things. Interestingly enough, I know much more about Chinese history than most Chinese people.
So
It,
how do you know Yong Chun?
yes.
And how do you know the master?
Well, uh, a man. Well, actually, after Bruce Lee's death, Kung Fu in general became very popular. That was in 1973, and the whole world became crazy about Kung Fu. And teachers from Hong Kong, they felt the good business opportunities, so they went all around the world to teach specifically that style that Bruce Lee was practicing in Hong Kong, that Yip Man's Wing Chun style. And in 1977, I think, the first teacher from Hong Kong went to Europe and started teaching Wing Chun. And in 1978, the first Wing Chun club was opened in my country. And then, occasionally some people from Hong Kong, they came, Hong Kong teachers, they came to Serbia. They organized seminars. There were a lot of people back then, and it was quite popular, at the time. Everybody wanted to be engaged in that. Okay, after some time, the interest about that declined, but it still, you have in all major sorry, in all major cities, you have at least one Wing Chun club. You know, problem is, quality of information is not quite good. Technically, yes, but there is a language barrier, there is a cultural barrier, and if you don't spend time here to actually understand what that all is about, then you can learn the moves, but you cannot understand quite a lot. Of course, people train hard. There are a lot of people who really, really love that, just like me, and they put a lot of time and effort in that, and they're quite good. But, well, to be honest, you can learn good Kung Fu only here. And I think Taiwan is the best place if you want to learn traditional Kung Fu.
Tradition.
Yes, in many ways, Taiwan is really the best place for that. And historically speaking, people give credit to Hong Kong, and they say, like they went, to the West to introduce people with Chinese martial arts. But actually, that's not true. People from Taiwan went much before Bruce Lee went to U.S. and they were teaching Kung Fu since early 1950s. A lot of Taiwanese masters, they went to U.S. and Canada, and there was some American soldiers here after the Second World War who are learning martial arts. But Chinese martial arts, you know, people didn't know about that, you know, and Kung Fu was not so popular, you know, before Bruce Lee. But actually, he's not the first one. People from Taiwan actually went there and taught Kung Fu to Western people.
So during your learning process, what's your biggest challenge?
Biggest challenge, myself.
Yourself.
Yes, and in everything you do, your personality, your ego actually is the biggest challenge. To conquer yourself is the hardest battle. You know, you can learn technique, you can learn how to fight, you can be a pretty good fighter, but to become a better person, that is the really, really hard thing. And Kung Fu can teach you that, actually help you to overcome your fears and your your ego who's driving you to do things that are not actually quite nice. And Kung Fu can actually help with that a lot. Yeah.
So it's a heart.
Yes, it's about inside. It's not about the technique. It's not about how strong you are.
So you never ever think you want to give up and stop learning?
Sometimes yes,
Why?
because of the politics. You know, Kung Fu is just like a catalyst. What you want from Kung Fu, you will get that. If you want to become better person, then Kung Fu will offer you a chance to become a better person. But if you don't want that, if you want to let go your lower urges to drive you through life, you know, like your ego and lower desires, you know, like, you know, desire for money, for fame, for whatever, Kung Fu will provide you that also, and you will become better in those kind of stuff. And you know, people sometimes, you know, they try to gain more followers, to earn more money, to so they do bad things to other people. You know, there's a lot of politics. You know, a lot of bad stuff, and a couple of times, you know, because I'm really not that kind of person. You know, I don't like to be engaged in those kind of stuff. So couple of times I really wanted to quit, but then again, you know, I don't want to let those people win, and I don't practice because of them. I practice because of me, and that's why I actually practice just with couple of friends. I don't, and I write a blog, of course, but it's not about me and my work. It's about Taiwanese Kung Fu, because I really believe this is the best place for learning Kung Fu, old traditional ways.
So when you come to Taiwan, do you exciting and you can learn a lot of?
Well, actually, when I came here, I didn't know where I'm coming from. You know, I knew very little about Taiwan. And, you know, when I came,
Searching for others.
actually, no, at first, no.
No.
At first, no, I was quite satisfied with what I knew before. I was full of myself, you know, and I thought I knew everything that it's possibly, you know, as I can possibly know about Wing Chun. But in time, first I realized where I am. You know, I was studying like Taiwanese history, and especially you know, connection with Chinese martial arts. And then I realized that I hit the jackpot. It's like winning a lottery for a Kung Fu. Well, I can say Kung Fu freak as I am, because I really like Kung Fu a lot. And then, you know, my research, you know, brought me to realization that I actually don't know anything. So I wanted to extend my knowledge to learn more. And well, I was searching for a teacher. I tried a couple of martial arts, you know, but eventually I settled down with White Crane Kung Fu, because it's quite similar to what I did before. Actually, it has same basic principles of power generation, movement, stuff like that, and it was easy for me to learn. I tried Tai Chi, and Tai Chi is very good martial art, but it's not for me. I also tried Baji. I met excellent people here in Tainan. The teacher is really, really a good person. He's some kind of artist, you know. He's extraordinary person, you know. I really hold high regards for him, but Baji was not my thing. You know, I started too late. You have to start that thing when you are very young. I already built my you know, reflexes and body movements, and I couldn't adjust to that. So finally I settled down with White Crane, and White Crane is something that I actually wanted to learn for a long time, you know. Well, you know, I was researching martial arts even in my country, and there's a lot of things you can learn even if you're not here. So White Crane is very specific style. You know, it was older than most of the modern kung fu styles, and most of southern Chinese boxing styles are actually White Crane is a basic foundation for those styles. For example, Wing Chun is, well, that's what I believe, is modified White Crane style, modified for using in a specific environment of the Chinese opera, at Cantonese opera actually, at the time. And there's other thing like I don't know, Tiger Crane style, I don't know, five family styles from also from Guangdong province, in also Hakka martial arts like White Eyebrow or Hakka Mantis. You can see basic White Crane patterns in there. So it is a proto style of most of the southern martial styles, and I wanted to learn that. I wanted to learn, you know, because it's a good foundation, and actually practicing White Crane improved my Wing Chun a lot, my understanding of the art.
So you mentioned about Hong Kong, and did you been to Hong Kong?
Yes.
Did you learn about Yongchuan or?
Yes, I have been there. I learned something, you know. And if you want to learn Wing Chun, Hong Kong is the place. For Southern martial arts, besides White Crane, Hong Kong is the best place to learn it. You know, like Wing Chun or Choi Li Fut or Five Family Styles. Hong Kong is definitely the best place to learn that. But if you want to learn Northern martial arts and White Crane, Taiwan is the best place. Actually, Tai Chi, Bagua, Xingyi, those arts are introduced by Taiwanese masters.